Have you ever looked at the world and wondered why a tiny percentage of the population seems to have an almost unfair advantage when it comes to money? We see the headlines, the billionaire lists, and the massive success stories that seem to come out of nowhere. Most people assume it's just luck, or maybe they were born into the right family. But if you dig deep into the history of wealth, you'll find a common thread, a code. This isn't your typical hustle culture advice you find on every street corner. We're talking about a spiritual technology that was revealed over 3,000 years ago. This ancient system treats money not as a limited resource you have to fight for, but as a flow you have to connect to. The Jewish people have held this secret since the foot of Mount Sinai, and it has allowed them to build fortunes of biblical proportions even in the most difficult times. Today, we're peeling back the curtain to show you how this godly way to make money actually works in the real world. Think about your life like a massive movie production. Most of the time, you're just the actor, playing out the scenes day by day. But there are specific times throughout the year, special windows of opportunity where you get to step into the editor's booth. In this ancient tradition, there is a concept that our financial destiny isn't just a random series of events. Instead, there is a divine budget that gets set for every single person. This budget decides how much you'll earn, how much you'll have to spend on unexpected repairs, and even those lucky bonuses that seem to fall out of the sky. Now, regardless of the date on your calendar today, you need to understand that this budgeting happens in cycles. There is always a season of preparation before the big decisions are made. It's a time when the king is in the field, meaning the source of all wealth is more accessible than ever. During this time, you can actually edit your income for the coming 12 months. If you felt like you're hitting a ceiling, this is where that ceiling gets removed. We've all been sold the same lie. If you just sleep 4 hours a night, drink a gallon of coffee, and work yourself to the bone, you'll eventually be rich. But let's be honest. If hard work was the only key to wealth, the hardest working people in the world would be the millionaires. And we know that's not usually the case. The truth is that trying to build wealth with only your hands is like trying to move a car by pushing it from the outside. It's exhausting, and you won't get very far. The Solomon's Treasury secret is about getting inside the car and turning the key. It's about understanding that you are a manager of resources, not just a gatherer of them. When you align yourself with the spiritual laws of money, you stop sweating for every penny and start tapping into a flow that defies logic. If you stay with me, I'm going to show you exactly how to turn that key so you can stop chasing money and start attracting it. If you're ready to stop the grind and start the flow, make sure to follow Solomon's Treasury. We're here to help you unlock the ancient wisdom that actually moves the needle on your bank account. The master key to this entire system is a concept called Tzedakah. Now, in English, we usually translate this as charity, but that doesn't even begin to describe the power of this word. When we think of charity, we think of a nice guy giving a few dollars to someone because he feels bad. But tzedakah comes from the Hebrew word tzedek, which means justice. In this wealth code, giving money away isn't a favor you're doing, it's an act of righteousness. It's the humble acknowledgement that the money in your pocket isn't actually yours. You are just the chief financial officer for the Creator. Think about a high-level manager in a big company. If a CEO sees that a manager is excellent at distributing resources to the right departments to make the company grow, what does the CEO do? He gives that manager a bigger budget every single time. Giving tzedakah is how you prove to the universe that you are a reliable distributor. When you prove you can move money to where it's needed, the source makes sure you never run dry. Let's talk about logic for a second. In our physical world, if you have $100 and you give away $10, you're left with $90. That is subtraction. It's simple, it's logical, and it's also the math of poverty. The spiritual wealth code uses a completely different equation. It's the math of multiplication. Imagine a beautiful apple pie that you've worked incredibly hard to bake. You found the ingredients, you slaved over the oven, and you're proud of that pie. The idea of giving away a slice or two feels like losing something you worked for. But this ancient secret says that the moment you give away that slice, the Creator has 1,000 different ways to give you back the whole pie and a bakery to go with it. We aren't talking about karma or some vague "what goes around comes around." We are talking about a hard-coded hack in the fabric of the universe. When you prioritize helping others, the Creator prioritizes your business. It is a spiritual law, as reliable as gravity. There is a famous line in ancient mystical texts that says, "Open up for me a vessel like the eye of a needle, and I'll fit an elephant through it." This is a profound metaphor for how wealth enters your life. Most people make the mistake of waiting until they are rich to start being generous. They say, "Once I have $1 million, then I'll start helping people." But that's the wrong way around. You have to create the opening first. Even if you feel like you have nothing right now, giving a tiny amount, opening that eye of a needle, is what creates the vessel. Once that vessel is open, the Creator can pour elephant-sized blessings through it. You don't need a massive infrastructure to attract wealth. You just need to create the spiritual crack in your own desire to keep everything for yourself. The moment you show you are willing to let money flow through you, you become an essential part of the divine economy. You're no longer a dead end, you're a channel. Have you ever noticed that when you're being most protective or stingy with your money, that's exactly when a surprise bill for your car or your house suddenly appears? Do you think there's a connection between hoarding and losing? Let me know in the comments. Let's look at how this works in the real world, with a story that will change how you see your current situation. Imagine a man who had everything: a fancy office, a mahogany desk, and a high-status life. Suddenly, he decides to start over. Now, he's in a small, dingy office. He's sitting on a $10 white folding chair from Walmart. He's alone, and honestly, things look pretty desperate. Most financial advisors would tell this man to cut every expense, save every penny, and wait for the storm to pass. But then, a rabbi walks in and asks him for his annual charity pledge. Instead of asking for less because the man is struggling, the rabbi asks for double what he gave when he was wealthy. The man was in shock. He was angry. How could he be asked for more when he had so much less? But then he realized, if he truly believes that God is the source of wealth, then giving more is the only logical way to prove he trusts the system. He said, okay. He committed to an amount he didn't have. And what happened? His business didn't just grow, it exploded. He went from zero to hero overnight because he refused to let his temporary dingy office phase limit his spiritual commitment. Most people look at their finances through the rear-view mirror. They look at what they earned last year. They subtract their rent, their food, their insurance, and their vacation. If there's $50 left over, they might give that to charity. But here's the problem. There is never enough left over if you wait until the end. The Solomon's Treasury secret is to look forward. Instead of looking at what you made to determine what you owe, you look at what you want to make, and you pledge based on that future number. You are essentially putting in a purchase order with the universe. You're saying, I want to earn $500,000 next year, so I am committing to give $50,000 of it. You are giving the Creator a business reason to fund your life at that level. You aren't asking for a handout. You're asking for the capital to run your distribution center for the world. When you commit the taxes to the king first, the king makes sure the revenue arrives. Money is a lot like water. If water flows into a pond but never flows out, that pond becomes stagnant, smelly, and full of salt. Think of the Dead Sea. Nothing can live there because there is no outflow. Oh, but if you are a pipe, the water flows through you to reach thirsty people, and the water stays fresh, clean, and abundant. Most importantly, the pipe itself is always wet. As long as you are the channel through which wealth reaches those in need, the source has to keep the pressure high in your pipe. You stop worrying about your own needs because you realize that as long as you're taking care of the king's business, the king is definitely going to take care of yours. The pipe doesn't own the water, but it never lacks for it. The moment you stop trying to collect and start trying to circulate, the entire nature of your bank account changes. If you had a 100% guarantee that every dollar you gave away would be returned to you tenfold within a year, what would your target income be for next year? Post that leap of faith number in the comments. In almost every spiritual tradition, you are told, do not test God. It's usually seen as a lack of faith or even disrespectful. But there is one, and only one, specific area where the creator of the universe actually invites you to test him. It's found in the ancient book of Malachi. God literally says, "Test me in this, and see if I will not throw open the floodgates of heaven and pour out so much blessing that there will not be room enough to store it." He is specifically talking about tithing and tzedakah. This is the only legal loophole in the spiritual world. It's a divine challenge. God is saying, I know your brain tells you that giving makes you poorer. I'm daring you to try it and see if I don't prove you wrong. This is the secret line that has changed the financial lives of thousands of people. It's an invitation to move from hoping for success to testing the laws of reality. Think about the law of gravity for a second. You don't hope that if you drop a ball, it will fall. You know it will. It's a physical law. For those who have mastered the art of giving, the return of wealth is just as predictable as gravity. One successful businessman shared that as his charity pledges went up from 18,000 to 50,000 to 100,000, he actually stopped feeling nervous. He realized that giving and receiving were just two sides of the same coin. He said there was no difference for him between dropping a ball and watching it fall, and giving away a large sum of money and watching his income rise to meet it. He had tested the law so many times that he became absolutely convinced of its reliability. When you stop seeing giving as a loss and start seeing it as a law, the fear of being broke disappears forever. You realize you're playing a game where the rules are in your favor. The real miracles don't happen when you give what's easy. If you're a millionaire and you give $20 to a homeless person, that's nice, but it's not a test. The real matrix hack is triggered when you give in a way that makes you slightly uncomfortable. It's that feeling in your chest when you make a pledge that's a little bit higher than what your logical mind says you can afford. That uncomfortability is actually the sound of your spiritual vessel stretching to hold more. It's like a muscle at the gym. It only grows when it's under tension. When you make a pledge that requires you to pray and say, God, you've got to help me make this happen because I've already committed to it, that is when you invite the supernatural into your bank account. You are forcing the universe to expand your capacity. Do you believe that wealth is finite, like a pie, where if I take a piece there's less for you? Or infinite, like a flame that can light other candles? Let's talk about your wealth mindset in the comments below. Sometimes, the return on your investment isn't just a random check, it's a breakthrough in a stalled project. There was a businessman who had been chasing a signature on a massive contract for months. It was endless back and forth, lawyers arguing over every comma and no progress. He finally decided to promise a significant portion of that specific project's profits to a school. 5 days later, after months of silence, the signed contract appeared in his inbox, exactly on his terms. When you involve the creator as a partner in your business, you are hiring the best closer in the world. He can move the hearts and minds of people you can't even reach. He can turn a no into a yes in the blink of an eye, because ultimately everything belongs to him. You're no longer negotiating alone. You have the source of all influence on your side. There is a pattern that many people in this community have noticed, the 10x rule. It's not a formal promise, but it happens so often it's hard to ignore. One woman shared that after a difficult divorce, she was struggling to run a home as a single parent. It was a battle to give even the smallest amount. But she stayed committed to the code. That year, she got a tax refund she wasn't expecting, and then a job opportunity that paid significantly more. Another story involves a man who was cash-tied and struggling, but decided to give a donation well above his means. Less than a year later, he closed a deal that was exactly 10 times the amount he had given away. There's even the story of a man who needed $5,000 for a trip to Israel. He had been supporting a friend in need all year, and within 3 days of needing the money himself, the $5,000 appeared, plus plenty extra. It's as if the universe says, "Since you took care of my business, I'm going to reward you with a harvest you didn't even plant." While the standard tithe is 10%, there is a higher level of this wealth code, the 20% rule. Those who move from 10% to 20% often find that their business enters a state of hyperdrive. They can't explain it with spreadsheets or market trends. They just find that things work out. They meet the right people at the right time. They avoid the mistakes that ruin their competitors. They scale at a pace that seems impossible. When you commit 20% of your income to the world, you aren't just a partner anymore. You've become an essential part of the divine infrastructure. The source always protects and expands its most valuable distribution channels. You become too big to fail in the eyes of the spiritual economy because so many people are depending on your success. What is the scariest or most uncomfortable amount you've ever given to someone in need? Did you notice anything coincidental or lucky happen to your finances afterward? I'd love to hear your story. So how do you actually start applying this Solomon's Treasury secret today, no matter what time of year it is? The first step is to make a pledge. You need to choose a cause, an institution, or a group of people who are doing godly work, something that truly resonates with your soul. Now, be responsible. Don't pledge money you need for your kids' dinner tonight if you don't have it. But the pledge must be a stretch. It has to push you beyond what you're comfortable giving. This is your seed for the next 12 months. You are telling the universe, I am ready for a bigger harvest, and here is my commitment to prove it. D. By making the pledge before the wealth arrives, you are creating the vessel we talked about earlier. There is a massive psychological and spiritual power in the written word. Don't just think about a number. Write it down. Create a document or write a letter to the organization you've chosen. I, your name, pledge to give X over the next 12 months. By doing this, you are ordering that level of success from the source. You are setting your budget before the money even arrives. You are creating a legal claim in the spiritual realm that says, I need this income because I have already committed a portion of it to help the world. This document is your contract with the source. You're telling God, I'm ready to be your distributor. Send the capital. It's no longer a wish, it's a commitment. The final step is to take your ego out of the equation. Our logical minds are the biggest enemies of our wealth. They will always find a reason why this month isn't a good time. Or maybe I should save this instead. Don't listen to that voice. It's the voice of scarcity. Set up an automatic transfer or write out post-dated checks for the year. When you make the giving automatic, you are proving your faith in the law of Tzedakah, gravity. And then, this is the most important part, just watch. Watch for the coincidences. Watch for the leaky bucket to stop leaking. Watch for the new opportunities that come out of nowhere. Once you test this and see the blessings explode, you'll never go back to the old way of living. You're no longer working for a paycheck, you're working for the creator of everything. If this ancient wisdom opened your eyes today, don't keep it a secret. It's actually a mitzvah to share these blessings. Like this video to help the algorithm reach more people who are struggling, comment, I am a vessel for wealth, to set your intention for the new year, and share this with one friend who needs a financial miracle. Most importantly, subscribe to Solomon's Treasury and hit the notification bell. We are on a mission to bring you the godly secrets to wealth, wisdom, and success that the world has forgotten. Let's make this your most abundant year yet. We'll see you in the next video.